Okay, John, what is your question?
Who or what inspired you to be you now?
Who or what inspired me? A lot of events, but one thing that really changed the direction of my life was when Ninoy Aquino was killed. Some of you perhaps have read it, have seen movies about it. The father of President Noynoy Aquino was shot. He was a former senator. I was only 19 then. And when he was shot, we were all sad. We were all shocked. And I said there was something wrong with the country. There was something wrong when somebody can just so easily be murdered. And that was the beginning of my interest in what was happening in the country. Before that, I really didn't care much about politics. I wasn't interested in national affairs. I was 19 years old. I was more interested in helping my father in his business, and maybe taking over my father's business, and just be a normal citizen and not concerned about government. But after Ninoy Aquino, Senator Aquino was shot and murdered, that really somehow changed how I decided where my life would go. I said, something is wrong. I want to know what is wrong. I want to know what I can do about it. I want to know what my role will be. And then I started to read. I started to attend activities, fora. I was in the University of the Philippines then. And then I met with student leaders and student activists. And then eventually, that was 1983, 1984, I ran for the student council in my college. And I won. And then in 1985, I ran again in UP, this time as a university councilor. This was during the Marcos regime. So I was already a student leader again. And then I won. And then in 1986, I ran for student council president of the University of the Philippines, and I won. And by that time, People Power 1 happened. President Cory Aquino became our president. And then she appointed me as a student representative to the Board of Regents of UP. The Board of Regents is the board that decides the policies of the university. So, who and what inspired me? I guess the event, that assassination of a former senator, really changed my life completely. Okay, Mia.
Is it hard to be a senator?
Is it hard to be a senator? Yes, it is. But it is hard also to be an electrician. It's hard to be a teacher. It's hard to be a pilot. It's hard. It's hard to be a fireman. You know, any occupation you choose, there will be difficulties. Maybe it may be more complicated a bit with respect to being a senator, because everything that we do is reported in the papers. So it is difficult, but it is also fulfilling, in a sense that when you see your laws being enacted and people benefiting from the law that you put together, then you realize that you're making a difference in the lives of others. So that is the reward of the difficulties of being senator. There are a lot of difficulties of being senator. I said one earlier. You have to campaign throughout the country for 90 days. You know, when you campaign for 90 days, sometimes you don't know what day it is. Sometimes you even forget where you are, because the country is so big, so many places to go to. I remember the day before I was in Cebu, so I was speaking Bisaya. The following day, I was already in Ilocos, in Isabela. But then I forgot that I thought I was still talking Bisaya, but I was already in Ilocos, so you get confused. So it's not easy to campaign. But when people come to you and cheer you on and are moved by you. Some people, after I deliver a speech, they tell me, you have our support. We hope that you will win. We know that you can make a difference in our country. I mean, that inspires me to work even harder. So yes, it is difficult, but I think the rewards in the long run of making a difference in the lives of others is also, I guess, eases the difficulty. In the same way, perhaps, that when a fireman is able to save the life of somebody caught in a fire, then he may get burned, he risks his life, but in the end, he finds it meaningful because he has saved a life. So it is difficult, but it is rewarding in that sense. Yes, what is your name?
Mai.
Okay, Mai.
What is the most significant law you've passed?
Well, there are quite a number, I'd like to think. I've been here 10 years. One is almost 10 years. One is the law that provided additional compensation for our judges. We were able to double the pay of our judges and justices, because before that law was passed, we had a lot of lawyers who didn't want to become judges, a lot of vacancies in our courts because the pay was poor. And when there are not enough judges, the justice system is affected. Cases are delayed and therefore not resolved immediately, and that affects the lives of people, because justice delayed, they say, is justice denied. So that is one. Another law which I feel needs to be implemented more effectively, but I feel is also very important, is the Juvenile Justice Welfare Law. This decriminalized or provided an alternative justice system for minors. Before, when you were below 15 or below 18, you're immediately treated like an adult offender. We have changed that. We have given second chances for young people who otherwise would be nabubulok na sa New Bilibid prison, but now have been able to turn a new leaf and have a second lease, on their lives. There was one, he was 17 when he committed an offense or was involved in an offense, frustrated homicide. Because of this law, he was transferred to a facility in Marikina, given a second opportunity. Today he is a supervisor in a gasoline station in Marikina, and he has a scholarship to become a criminology major for LaSalle here in Cavite. If this law was not passed, he would have probably been convicted and already serving sentence in the New Bilibid prison. So he had a second lease on life. So that's another law that I consider important. And the UP Charter, that's another law that I defended and pushed. The UP, University of the Philippines, turned 100 last 2008. It's a century old, but its charter, which is it's the law that created it, had not been touched or had not been amended or revised since 1908. So when we passed that law, we helped the University of the Philippines become more cutting edge, meaning provide quality education for college students, and hopefully that law will benefit our young people who want to have the best education here in our country. So these are some of the laws. There are several others, but it is focused on justice and human rights, improving our system of justice, improving the welfare of our youth, and of course, quality education. So these are some of the laws that we passed.